So, first of all, today is actually a pretty significant day in Evmos history, I guess, in our young history, young chain. Today is Evmos Happening Day. So, what that means is, for those that aren't really familiar with the term happening, or it's not even a word, it's really halving, but the crypto community kind of coined this, I guess, a meme term. It pretty much means uh, the daily emission rate of Evmos is going to be halved. So reduced by 50%. So it had a lot of implications in terms of the whole macro tokenomics. We don't typically like to talk about token price or things of that nature, but it is still a significant milestone, I guess, or an event in Evmos. So I thought I would bring that up. And yeah, hopefully we'll see better days. uh, so next up, give you a quick update of Forge. So currently, we're actually Forge is like barely a month old or something. If my memory serves me correctly. And right now we've managed to lock up a TVL of around $2.35 million. We've had more than 50,000 transactions, around $4.5 million in volume. And DeFi Llama is estimating if the trend was to continue, hopefully hopefully the trend, it accelerates and grows, but the annualized estimated volume should be over $125 million in volume, which is, great for the community, first of all, because it is a community on DEX. So, uh, in the end, even though we don't charge protocol fees, um, yeah, I think overall volume is a very healthy sign of a network. So it's definitely good to see. And on that note, on the note of TVL, obviously, token price, has taken a hit, but we are at an all-time high in terms of locked in Evmos, not in terms of US dollars, but Evmos locked in DeFi. Um, and with that coming, it's a very, very good sign, in my opinion. Obviously, none of this is financial advice, but yeah, definitely seeing some encouraging trends. Yeah, so obviously everyone knows that the incentive program called Inferno on Forge is live, and we are working to improve the user experience. And the Forge team and the Evmo style, uh, we're actually working on a Forge version 2. Um, so unlike other, or I don't want to say unlike other, but unlike what we have seen in the past, mostly on we want this, DEX to continually and improve with new features and integrations, and hopefully with projects building on top of it. And since Forge is a Unit 3 swap or fork, yeah, there's so many opportunities for other protocols to easily deploy on top of Forge and Evmos. Um, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later. And yeah, better documentation is coming. We've just been so busy. Uh, yeah, we've been very busy, but yeah, we hear the community. Unity is very confusing. Active liquidity management is difficult, and yeah, we totally hear the community, and better documentation is coming. Um, no set date on that yet, but it's continually, it's a continuous project, and you're most likely to see up. So yes, that's a Forge update. Next, I wanna mention some. Hold on, one sec. Hey, how's it going?
Hello. I don't talk on Twitter Spaces often, so I hope you can hear me fine. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the Prop 92, address those concerns whenever you want to get into that.
Cool. Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit.
Okay, cool.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah. So other ecosystem news. There's a new DEX aggregator on Evmos that just launched. I believe it's pronounced Eisen. Pretty much it utilizes both Unify V2 as well as V3. That's just on Evmos and tries to find the best route. So yeah, check them out on itonfinance.com. I also tweeted about it on this account. So if you want a quick link, just go to my profile. Um, and Pangolin. So Pangolin, uh, you know, they made a big announcement that they were going to deploy on Evmos. And they went to the grants route. And I am hearing that they're actually preparing to launch within the next week, which is, very exciting. Um, yeah, it's always exciting when new protocols and new DeFi projects are launching. Um, yeah, I'm really excited to, see what they have been building because supposedly, or yeah, I haven't really, I don't know the details, but I believe they're E Elixir pools are it's like a new novel, pool that they're launching on Evmos. So it should be interesting to see, how they designed it, and hopefully, Penguin will play a big role in the growth of the Evmos ecosystem. Alright, before getting to Tashi, I also wanna mention 2 DeFi projects that are going to be launching on Evmos as well. Um One of them is Steer Protocol. Um, we'll probably get into more details next week about Steer, but I believe they are preparing to launch right now. Um, very cool platform. Pretty much active position management and automated. Anyone can create their own strategy for Uni V3. Yeah, they gave us a demo. We had a very productive call and we're very excited to have them launch. And another project is staking. Tay King. It's kind of like a wordplay, like stay, STAY King. Um, they're a leveraged staking platform. So what is leveraged staking? Yeah, they could probably explain it better. So I won't even try. But yeah, they're a very qualified team from Korea. I'm actually meeting them sometime this week to see where we can help. Um, yeah, so stay tuned for more information on staking. And then finally, Hashi, the borrow and lending protocol. Uh, Christy, do you want to introduce Hashi and your team and progress you guys have made so far?
Yeah, sorry, I had to get back to the right little screen here. I'm Christine. Lindsay's in here too. We're co-founders of Tashi. I think we've been around for most of the people listening right now to have kind of an idea of what we're up to. We're putting RLN on Devmos. We are super excited to be doing this, and we're getting really close to be able to launch. We've got a lot going on. Like we've said in the past couple weeks here, we've got probably 2 to 3 weeks from now, we'll be opening our Genesis pool. So that's exciting with Evmos and Atom. And then we'll be holding a token sale and we should be launched in July at some point if all goes well. So we have a ton going on. But really, like I said, I'm excited to hear about these other things getting off the ground. We haven't had the chance really to be on these community calls yet. So if there is people who would like more knowledge about what we're doing, I'm happy to keep talking. But it's really valuable to me at this moment to hear what else is going on. I had heard about staking before. That's really cool. I'm happy to be on a call that they're talking. I'm happy to hear that Penguin's on the way and because we're with them. So I think it's all just really interesting.
Yeah, I love the whole collaborative spirit. Can you I guess clarify like how you guys are working with Penguin?
Yeah, we'll be using them uh, for our decks, I believe. Well, I know that there's the opportunity with Forge having all the native tokens, assets that are already on Atmos, like the Atmos add-on, whatnot. But between Wormhole and, well, this is where I'm getting into complications and didn't want to talk too much today. We have a lot going on in our world, but but let's just say that Penguin is good friends with us, and I think it's going to be really exciting to get to know everybody else in the community too.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those that don't know Penguin, they were one of the, you know, they were one of the leading dexes on Avalanche. I believe it was actually started by the Avalanche Foundation, or I don't know if it's called Avalanche Foundation, but the equivalent of the Avalanche Foundation. And it was handed off to the community. And now it's 100%, community governed. So yes, always good to see more community governed protocols. Mm.
Yeah, if I can add to
So
that, I think that it's really cool because it's kind of the same idea as Forge. It's just been around for a little bit longer. So those are the kind of relationships that we like to have, right?
Right. So yeah, I think all these, cool thing about DeFi, and especially EVM, solidity based DeFi, that protocols can, leverage each other and kind of build on top of each other. Like this, I mentioned this before, but unlike other Cosmos dApp chains, since we are like a layer one, yeah, a lot of interesting collaborations and um, you know, cross cross yeah, pretty much collaborations that are possible. Um, yeah, if we look at the Ethereum ecosystem, like there's tons of protocols to just like trying to prop each other up instead of trying to fight for liquidity. Um, so yeah, excited to see how everything will advance in the next few months. There's a lot going on, like you said. Super excited. All right. Is there for Tashi, is there anything that the community or the governance workstream can do to help, I guess, with the successful launch? I know we talked about this like in a call earlier, but for community, I guess, to hear.
I think it's just going to be really important uh, for not just the DAO, but the community itself to be involved. Like we want to be, this is why we're on these kind of calls now. We want to be more than just our platform. We want to know what's important to people. We want to know how to help create partnerships that extend beyond what's already in Evmos and promote, decentralized collaborations between people. We'd love to know like what kind of introductions people need to be able to move further in the space. Like it's not just about us. Um, for Tachi to be successful, of course, you can, for all the people who are out there holding Evmos, it's a great use case to throw it in our pools and lend it out and, experience what that's like. Um, and, and we'll help by teaching a lot. Like we plan on making, you were talking earlier with Forge about good documentation. That's something that we want to get a handle on too, right from the beginning. So Lindsay and I have been working really hard on creating documents and, getting them translated to be able to communicate really well with everybody about education and how we just want to really represent teaching in this space and not just about what we do, but hopefully we can collaborate with some of the other people in this call and say, hey, this is how, Tashi can work with Forge. This is how whoever can work and go beyond just like throwing a post out there, because you scroll through all these posts on Twitter every day about how like, oh, these two people collabed and you're like, great. And, as a normal person, you might think like, so like, what does that mean for me? So to be able to collaborate with the people in these calls and, within these communities and actually take the time to not just document, but, make it a little bit more personal and get on a spaces or create like a 20-second video and be like, hey, this is what we mean. But we think that will really help, and we can do that with the community too, answer questions that way. We think things like that are going to be helpful in progressing the whole ecosystem because it allows more people to come in. I'm going to ramble on for a second here because that's what I do. But not being a native Cosmos or Evmos person, I find that if this is where you started, of course, it all makes sense. But the barrier to entry has been kind of high if you're coming from somewhere else, like bridging and this and that. And yeah, like, what wallet do I need? Or where do I hold my tokens? And like, how do I use this with this? And what does IBC mean? Like, a lot of that as an outsider kind of makes you think, like, okay, maybe I just won't. So, really working on being able to break down those barriers and make it easy for people to want to be in this space because of how welcoming and inviting and teaching we are is going to be a big focus for us. Because once you're here, you can tell that the community is great, the sentiment is great, but we need people to be able to see that and want to be here. So that's something that Lindsay and I are really focused on.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And then that's why, yeah, I don't want to go too back into, the past, but that's why I was so, I guess, trying to get the community support team workstream pass because one of their primary, duties would have been to help and assist with all these educational material. But yeah, anyways, that's that. And I totally agree. And, funny thing, I actually trained custom chat GPT model on a bunch of Forge and Uniswap, uh, Evmos related documents. Yes, it's been pretty interesting like seeing what people ask. We call it Forge GPT, but yeah, you guys need to stop asking inappropriate stuff. But yeah, yeah. So it's like this an experiment, I guess. And you know, since our work stream is very shorthanded, might as well leverage AI where we can to help, I guess. Um, yeah. Anyways, so now we're getting off topic. All right, moving on. I want to give a quick update about hackathons and grants. So actually right now, yeah, I'm currently in a hotel room for Eat Soul. Evmos is a silver sponsor. And Swan from the core team will be will be speaking at the Eat Soul main stage in about 12 hours. And if there is a live stream link available, I will provide that. But yes, this is our first I guess entry into an Eat Soul event, so it's exciting. Unfortunately our hackathon track was canceled because of some miscommunications, but in return, Dora Hack's hackathon got extended 14 days, so hopefully that makes up for it. Yeah, and so far Dora Hack, you know, things started about 3 weeks ago. We have 61 projects submitted and growing. And it's very encouraging to see projects that are actually leveraging, EVM extensions or precompiles. Um, so yeah, I'm excited to see what more projects are built out in the next 2 weeks. And if you and everyone's totally welcome to look at the projects that have been submitted so far. It's just dorahacks.io. And then if you click on hackathons, you'll see Evmos. Um, and on the grants part, the Encode grants round, uh, the deadline is coming soon. It will be on June 4th. And this is for the grants round number 2. And as a reminder, this grants program is community funded, and it is managed uh, in conjunction with Encode Club. So definitely check that out and definitely get your applications in if you are looking for a grant. Yeah, you can find more details on their Notion or their blog. And lastly, since we'll go over some Commonwealth discussions that have come up in the past week. Uh, Jeremy, do you want to begin with the proposal 92?
Yeah. So I posted on behalf of the Evmos DAO on Commonwealth. It's linked in the comments here, addressing concerns with Prop 92, request return of funds. I'd like people to take a look at that, get the discussion going to see if Prop 92 is meeting the milestones and obligations that MetaTank is obligated to with that. There were a few issues, and some of it might come down to misunderstandings as far as early payout of milestone 1, where they seem to be under the impression that you get paid out to complete milestone 1. But then there were other things like they persuaded the multisig to take a lot of the funds and put them in their personal accounts to stake them in order to try to negate some of the downward price action. That's a huge security risk. It was completely outside of the scope of anything in the proposal. And if they want to do that, I feel like there should have been another proposal for that. Now we have staked assets, so in the future, others would be able to hold an ST Evmos, for example. You can see they released on May 29th an example website which shows their conversion platform. Milestone 1 was the conversion platform and game development. You can reference the PDF of the MetaTank proposal on what they propose to the community. It is completely different. They changed a lot of it without consulting the community. It seems to be, from what I've seen, it seems that they're 6 months behind, 4 months behind at least. There hasn't been much communication with them. I'd spoke previously with one of the multisig holders asking if MetaTank could put out updates, and it was very delayed, or just brief Twitter posts that did not cause much of an update. So I think briefly that's a lot of the issues. It's kind of a lot to go into. They've posted a response on Commonwealth, and I'd really encourage everybody to just go and read it for yourself and see what you think. So that's what I've got.
Hey, Louis, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, hello, along this confidential block. I want to mention that I think it's not only like for mistakes made from a meta tank side, I think the we can also improve on how the multi-sig handle the situation. So maybe we could do like do's are and don'ts as a multi-sig signer, like stop from the personal wallets or asking for updates, verifying addresses. I don't know, like suggestions in general whenever someone participates in a multi-sig of what they should and shouldn't do. Because I think there's like some opportunities there to improve.
Yeah, definitely. So personally, me coming from the Ethereum side, we've like Gnosis Safe has been used, since for quite some time now. And there's like a kind of like an unspoken rule on how to effectively and safely manage like multi-sigs. But I understand that, you know, for Cosmos, people that are coming from the Cosmos side, they might not be, kind of familiar with, I guess, multi-sig etiquette. I don't, is that the right word? Etiquette or
Yeah, like best practices, I guess.
your best practices, right? So, um, on that aspect, I understand how mistakes could have been made. And, um, yeah, as I mentioned in the post, I think this is a good learning opportunity. Um, and definitely think that, you know, a simple like guideline on how to number one, create a strong multi-sig composition, uh, best security practices, um, you know, like you said, like pretty much like a guideline would be beneficial, definitely. And I'll try to work on that.
Yeah, just glad to mention that. Thank you guys.
And to clarify, yeah, we're not trying to, again, it's tough because we want to set a good example, a good precedent, but at the same time, we don't want to, stunt the potential growth of a project. So in a way, there's a lot of room for interpretation here. Um, so we would really like community feedback on their thought. It's super helpful.
Yeah, I think definitely some guidelines for multi-sigs that would help maybe with some clarity. And yeah, there hasn't been a whole lot of discussion on that yet. Where I hope we get some eyeballs on it from the greater community. Yeah, it could all be a bit of a misunderstanding. But yeah, we voted for this. We wanted to see it built. I voted for it. But yeah, personally, I've been a little disappointed in it. But yeah.
Um, is Metatink in the audience by any chance? I'm gonna assume no. Since no one raised their hand, right? Um, yeah, we'll definitely try to get them in a call maybe next week or next week. Um, I don't think this Commonwealth proposal is something that we should rush. 'Cause like you said, it could be misunderstandings. So yeah, uh, this Commonwealth post, from my understanding, is all the concerns raised is not necessarily, a thing that they should be like removed like ASAP. Uh, hold on, Dev, I'll invite you. Hey, Dev. Can you hear me? Hello. Can you hear me? Hey, Dev. Do you have anything to add? Yeah, the case from Metatank, they wanted to speak, but they remained the moment, so he can't say. Just wanted to say. I'm so sorry. Your your audio is kind of muffled. I couldn't hear what you said. Can you repeat that one more time? Sorry, couldn't hear. Can you hear me now? It's kind of go for it. uh, Based from Metatech, he wanted to come on the stage, but he don't have mobile right now, so he can't check. All right, cool. Yeah, I guess I'll try to have them on next time. Yeah, we're running short on time, so we'll quickly get to the last two things I want to bring up, which is in the Commonwealth discussions. Uh, there's a pre-proposal read for the ERC20 asset registration of the meme token. Yeah, personally, I'm not against it or for it, or I'll be honest, I don't even know what the meme token is, but hopefully the community can chime in and give some insights, I guess. And there's another proposal or Commonwealth thread to register Zen token as the IBC token. Personally, I've been watching Zen because they were one of the first tokens on Forge with pretty impressive volume, considering none of it was incentivized. Hold on, we have a request. Yeah, so the Zen token, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think a lot of people understand what it is. I still don't understand what it is, but I do know they have a big community in pretty much, all the large EVMs. So yeah, I'm not, I don't see anything wrong I don't see any negatives to registering it as IBC token, but we do need to keep in mind that if it's an IBC token coming from Evmos, if, yeah, so all IBC tokens coming from Evmos will reflect the Evmos chain. So hopefully, yeah,
This is something I wanted to ask about the token registrations. Because is there any risk for the chain to register like basically tokens?
yes.
I see your suggestion.
So there is a risk, um, and that is why, the core devs made the token registrations, that's why they made it so that it has to go through governance, so that there's due diligence on each asset. Because don't quote me on this, but I believe there could be malicious code that could be executed um, during registration or something. Um, yeah, I'm probably not the right person to ask, but there is a reason why they made it through a governance.
And I assume the risk is as high if it's already ERC20 and then we use it as IBC or create an IBC representation bit.
Yeah,
Because if it's already ERC20, then I assume the risk is only on the image of Evmos as if there's a scam token that Evmos actually kind of endorsed that
right,
IBC, right?
right. So
Yeah,
it,
I think
yeah,
I think the comments are on. I don't know if you guys check the Commonwealth thread. There's a bunch of new or basically scam on the Commonwealth thread, just repeating the same message that great project, but no username, no face associated
yeah,
with it. So that
yeah. It's
makes me pause.
definitely a very confusing project. The more I try to learn about it, the more confused I get. But they are bringing, a lot of volume and, network activity. And looking at their deployment on other chains, it seems like, they have a lot of following. So
Yeah, real
yeah,
quick about that. Um, I've been trying to learn about them myself. They have a Telegram group for Zen. It has roughly a little under 200 people in it, and so they were talking before they posted on Commonwealth. They were talking about making a Commonwealth one, and the people that do seem to be active in their Telegram, they were encouraged to go and just voice their support that this is something that they want. So yeah, from the outside, it looks like just a bunch of sock puppet accounts, but I think they are actually active community members that are just all on the Zen side, and nothing fired them up about governance until now. Non-endorsement or anything of Zen, but I think that those are actual Evmos users, Zen community members.
Yeah, that's actually pretty valuable to know that
Yeah, yeah.
there's an actual person behind all this. So thank you guys.
yeah. I'm not against Zen token. Um, in fact, I I was the one that merged their pull request to be added on the Forge token list. But yeah, I guess ultimately the community needs to do their own due diligence and decide whether it is something that they want to see as an IBC token. And I guess I will. So MetaTink has joined the call. I guess we'll end with get a statement or defense from MetaTink. And yeah, before we begin, I just want to mention that this was not like a personal attack. The DAO was just trying to do this due diligence on the community pool expense. So I hope you didn't take it personally, but I do hope that you see why a lot of the community members were concerned. But yeah, feel free to speak your mind.
All right, thanks. I believe this is LPX token. I hope everyone can hear me loud and clear. Yeah, no, thank you. I think this was needed as well. Even though it was a bit of a shock, there 100% are areas that we could have improved. So it's good that we're talking about this. And like Tilop said, I do believe some of those things were misunderstandings. For example, with the thing with the early payout, seeing other proposals, I was also under the assumption that that first funding that you earn from the milestone one is what you use to kickstart development. If that's not the case, please do correct me and direct me to examples where, you know, it's done properly. As for the staking, so once again, this was the first time we ever approached such a situation. Because of this, I personally attended a community call. I believe even in that call, Benny Lava from the DAO was there. LPX, I don't know if you were in there, but Adonis and Kilo were there as well. So I was actually speaking to, they were hosting. So we actually came to the community first and proposed our plan. And I specified in that as well that the funds would be going to our multi-sig trustees, Dev D, Kevin, and Dore. None of those funds ever entered the account of any core member from Metatan. And like we said during that community call as well, how I had looked at the situation initially was that I am the lead, I am in charge of this project, and I've requested certain funds, and I've told the people that, you know what, it's my responsibility to get the job done and deliver what we need to. So seeing the way Evmos price token was moving, I thought the best idea is to try to minimize the risk of us running out of funding, because then at the end, it would all be pointless if we don't even deliver a single product. But now we've had our conversations, I do understand the risk and where it was all coming from. Personally, it was just a decision to make as a leader. And I thought it was a risk worth taking because I didn't see Dev D, Kevin, and Dore doing anything negative. Anyway, we have discussed the staking, and I do apologize. But once again, though, we approached the community first to bring this up because this was the first time ever having to come across such a situation. So yes, on the delivery, we are late, and I do apologize for that once again. Although I do believe this one, it has a bit of context, you know? So when we initially approached the community, you know, you can check on my account right now, there's the video of, you can say our V1 conversion platform. It was a rudimentary example. So that's what we had initially modeled our proposal around, creating a conversion platform. And in that case, in this old V1 version, it required, you know, connecting your wallet. It required spending gas. And also on top of that, when you do claim those tokens, those rewards, they are only directed towards the wallet that's connected to the app. So over time, we thought, you know what, we need to decrease frictions, make this easier for people. If you think about the Evmos token, right now, it's not even traded on Binance or Coinbase, which are the biggest major exchanges that people have access to. You know, very few people are into crypto. And remember, we're targeting people in the Web2 general public. So we wanted to make this as easiest as possible for them to operate and navigate. So that's exactly what we did. And now you can use our platform. It's working right now. You can check on our Twitter profile. You sign in just how you sign in any other game, you know, with your email or with your Gmail. And then after that, you exchange those points that you've earned playing in your game. And instead of having to connect your wallet, you don't even have to connect your wallet for this one. And on top of that, you can redirect wherever you want these reward tokens to be sent to any wallet you choose. And all of that without spending any gas. You don't need to go out there and enter the Evmos Discord to get faucet tokens or anything. So of course, doing something like that ended up also taking extra time, which is unfortunate. But then I would like to ask the community and to you guys, what would have been the better choice for us? As in, deliver a product 2 months earlier, but it's not as user friendly.
I, I, I'm gonna speak up even not part of the DAO, but as a community member, guys, and I think the other thing that was missing was more robust and continuous updates on the status of, hey, we're going to run late 4 months. I think that's fine, but if there's not like enough communication, and remember, not everyone's gonna be on Twitter Space, or not everyone's gonna check exactly one post. So it's on the the wages on the one that's receiving the funds, right? Are you communicating what's going on with the project continuously so everyone's like on the same page, basically. That's my 2 cents.
Yes, yes, indeed. You can see even from my comments earlier, I haven't done some reflection. I definitely do understand that the the level of communication on our side, there left a lot of room to improve. 100%, 100%. What I did want to add though is that this all came as a surprise and a shock because you can imagine during this whole time from January into end of May, it seems to me that there seems to have been issues within. I don't know whether it's people in the DAO or community members, but we never received a single message or comment, whether it's in the government's chat, general chat, personal private DMs. There's not a single person that said, "Hey, I have a problem with this. Can we address it?" And instead, after we released our product late, we get this request to return the fundings. It's almost like, imagine in the workspace, you're doing your job for X amount of months, and then all of a sudden your boss says, all right, it's time to pack up and go. There's no PIP, the performance improvement plan where people discuss how to improve or anything.
Yeah, I get your point, but I mean, using your same analogy, it's like you're doing a job. You say you're going to deliver X thing in 1 month, then you don't give any updates. I'm not saying you didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no. So, but no,
Um,
I don't.
and then expect everyone to be happy that you're late for 5 months. I get your point, but I think it's in the end it's a communication issue, not and that it effectively affects trust issues, right? Those are my
Yes.
opinions.
It it does, Luiska, and I appreciate your responses. And once again, um, like I know, especially coming from you, that this isn't a malicious attack or anything, and I'm not viewing it as such. Everything has been reasonable and sensible. And for me now, it's sort of how do we proceed forwards and move on? Because as you know, this project we've dedicated time, with time and thought, making ideas, plans, scratching them away, going again, and it means a lot to us. And we never went anywhere. We were always here. You could always message us and reach us out at any time, any point. There's no person we try to ignore or do anything against. And it's like we wish to move forward, and how do we do that? What is required for us to move forward, and whether that means we're together or we're not, And I'm
So
open to any whatever the will of the community, whatever the community feels about us, I will 100% accept it. It's just I hope we can look at it and see whether or not this is something people still believe in, people still trust, people still see value in. If not, that's perfectly fine as well. But let's do our best and see how we can come to a conclusion and move on, basically.
yeah, so keeping the Commonwealth thread, you know, I did mention, there's always delays, there's always, stuff in life that can come up, and things never go like perfectly according to plan. Um, so I've always wanted to give the benefit of the doubt. And like I said in the thread, ultimately we are rooting for you, and that this is just a whole misunderstanding. So I guess moving forward, well, first of all, thanks for chiming in. Um, I hope you don't mind, but I will be clipping this audio and posting it to the thread. So future, I guess people looking at the thread later on will have more context. Um, I think that'll be super helpful. And ultimately it comes down to communication, right? Like you said, slow progress is okay, but you just gotta be more transparent and, you know, just give constant updates. And I think community will be a lot more, at ease rather than having seeing one tweet every couple months.
Mm.
Like we're not
Sorry.
out to get you,
Could
Yeah.
Like we want
So-
you
so-
to.
you okay to reply?
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, I was saying, sorry to interrupt you. I was wondering whether it would be okay to reply or not.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, no, I agree. This whole thing to me, it seemed it could have been easily avoided with simple communication. So just a small thought that had occurred in my head. Like, communication, they say it's a two-way street, you know? And we were not aware that some of these problems were brewing over these past months. As I said previously, no one had approached us, not a single person. I do hope, and I wished if people had some issues with us, they could have approached us, and then we would have done our best to improve and make things better. It sort of feels like with this whole scenario, we just went from doing fine to the deep end, all in just one fell swoop. There was, um, yeah, just like you said, low communication. And if we had known, and we should have done this as well, the level and consistency of updates which community members or DAO members would have preferred to feel comfortable, then I promise you, we would have done that. But yes, like you said, communication definitely, and there's still this is all brand new. How the proposal works, who's in charge of the treasury, how projects that have been approved, how they should behave. Everything is still brand new, and not everything is set in stone from the guidelines, frameworks, so on and so forth. So yes, like you said at the start, taking this as a learning point and figuring out the best practices. No, thank you
Yeah,
for
no,
giving the platform.
definitely, you know, there's improvements to be made on our side as well. So yeah, Jeremy, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, real quick. Yeah, no, I appreciate hearing your side. I haven't spoke with you directly since the proposition's passing, but there had been a few times where um I'd had community members ask me about things, and so I had contacted some of the multi-sig guys, and I asked them for updates. I asked them what was going on, and so when you have been like asked some updates like privately in your Discord chat, I think you have. That some of that was requests that were coming from me requesting on behalf of other people to the multi-sig. And I know I didn't realize early on about the staking thing. I had expressed, and I think a couple other people expressed privately to the multi-sig that, hey, this isn't this isn't how it's supposed to go. So that was very surprising for me to find out a couple months after that had happened. And so there's a few things that appear to be red flags due to, and could just be due to misunderstandings and then just infrequent updates where a few things that aren't quite how it should be done, and then lack of communication publicly can all kind of add up. I would really like to see what you have for game development. That would be, I think that would be fantastic. Or, and I don't know what exactly you have for game development, if that's only character design and stuff. Are you pivoting completely away from the meta tank thing? So this is a completely different looking than what was publicly proposed. That's some of the things that I'd personally like to see as just a community member that voted yes for you. And keep in mind that I'm pretty sure that your proposal is the largest approved spend that Evmos has done on an individual project. So with that, that's where I see the importance of it.
Yeah, yes. I know there was a slight, you know, miscommunication thing going on when in our private Discord, whenever DevD would mention to me, I had no idea that this request was coming from me or the community. And in I think it would be best if I were to also join. I think maybe this was the Telegram group. So I'm not in the Telegram group. But after this call, I will be in the Telegram group. Yes. And so let's see what's the next thing you said afterwards. So game development. Yes. So as we had said previously, I think by the time we had finished trying to sell off our tokens, we had received maybe just about under 34,000 US dollars. And it took a lot from us to what is it, to build this platform, even in just the time taken and everything. So in terms of game development, we had just made plans, and it was still mobile games, so hyper casual games more specifically. We're not moving to anything. Although one change I will say is that, currently our project, we're called MetaTank. And we think going forwards, just having the name Meta in your project, your name, it's not the best way to go about things. So you would see that in our testnet, the token is called Raiden. So that's where we're going to move on to next, and then create what's called the Raiden universe. And we've already started creating lore for this universe to fit the game characters and everything. It's got pages upon pages and stories upon stories. But game development, like as you see in the proposal, we have part 1, part 2, part 3, because there's a lot goes into developing. You don't just, let's say, for example, create a character. You have to first do your research and then create the idea. What type of game is it? Is it like an endless hyper casual game, or is it a clicker? Is it some sort of mini micro RPG? There's different categories you can go for, and then after that, you slowly progress to creating characters and then putting them to the game engine and modeling. So doing that in parts, you know. And yeah, I think, I think just to close off, I know we've been going on for too long and people are probably tired. Thank you for hearing us out. I am sorry to community, especially those who are waiting for more frequent updates. It is something we have now found how important it is, and going forwards, we'll be improving that. And yeah, we'll just leave it up to the community to make the decision. I do hope it's something, since, like you said, to Lop, that this was the biggest spend as in on a singular project, 300,000 Evmos tokens. I do hope we can continue to take this seriously and get to making our decision. I think on our side with my team members as well, what I don't want for them is to spend 1 month, 2 months in limbo, confused of what's going on. I don't think it would be fair, especially after what we've all put work and effort in. So when people are ready to say their thoughts, make their decisions, we'll sit here patiently and be happy to receive whatever final verdict is, whether the trust is there or if it's gone. It's up to the community, as it always has been. But thank you, though.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for telling your side of the story. I yeah, I mentioned this before, but I'm not too big of a fan of this going on chain. So hopefully everything will work out. But of course, like you said, it's up to the community. Um, but that being said, we're running really late on time, so I think for this week we should wrap things up. If anyone has any last minute questions, concerns, give me 5 seconds. All right. Well, thank you for attending. Wow, June 1st, another month. So thank you for attending the governance council meeting. And if anyone's in Seoul for all the events going on, feel free to let me know and we could meet up. Thank you. And I guess goodbye. See you next week.